Okay, let's talk about something that literally protects your entire digital life, your password. We're going to break down exactly how hackers steal them, and more importantly, how you can build a digital fortress that they just can't break. So let's just get straight to it with a pretty scary question. Is your password for sale online right at this very moment? It's a shocking thought, I know, but the chances are actually much higher than you might think. Just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, a massive data leak not too long ago exposed a staggering number of login credentials. 16 billion. Now sure, that number probably includes some duplicates and old data, but the fact remains, a truly massive number of our passwords are just out there, in the open, ready for hackers to use.
And look, the danger here goes way beyond someone just posting something silly on your social media. A leaked password can be the one key a criminal needs to steal your identity, to try and get into your bank accounts, or even to use your personal information to blackmail you or your family. It gets serious fast.
So, how are they doing it? Well, it's not always some super advanced, movie-style hacking. A lot of the time, it's about exploiting human psychology and a few very common mistakes. So let's break down the four most common methods hackers have in their playbook.
So yeah, hackers have a playbook, and it usually involves one of these four techniques: phishing, credential stuffing, password spraying, and the good old brute force attack. Let's take a closer look at each one, shall we? First up is phishing, and this is all about the art of deception. You get a text, just like this one, it looks official, it creates a sense of urgency, and it gives you a link to click. But that link, it leads to a totally fake website, and the moment you type in your login details, boof, the hacker has them. Next up is credential stuffing. This one's huge. Let's say your password for some old forgotten Instagram account gets leaked. You might not even care, but the hacker definitely does. They will take that exact email and password combo and stuff it into the login pages of every other major site. We're talking your email, your bank, your shopping accounts, just hoping you reused that same password somewhere else.
Password spraying kind of flips that whole idea on its head. Instead of trying lots of passwords on your one account, hackers take a single, really common password, like India123, and they spray it across thousands and thousands of different accounts. They only need it to work a few times for the attack to be a huge success for them.
And finally, there's the brute force attack. The best way to think about this is like an old-school suitcase lock. You could sit there and try every single combination from 000 all the way to 999, and eventually you'd get it open. Hackers do the exact same thing, but with powerful software that can try millions of combinations every single second.
Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial question. What actually makes a password strong or weak? Because believe it or not, there's a science to it. And we're about to see why that password you think is so clever might actually be incredibly easy for a computer to guess.
The key concept here, the big word, is called entropy. But don't worry, in simple terms, password entropy is just a fancy way of measuring its randomness. The more random, long, and unpredictable your password is, the higher its entropy, and the harder it is for a hacker's software to ever crack it.
And wow, here's where it gets real. Let's look at how this plays out. Common passwords like 123456 or India123, yeah, those are cracked instantly. Even something like Dhruv@1995, which seems to tick all the boxes, right? It can be cracked in about 9 minutes. But look at this last one, 1QAZ@WSX. It looks complex, but it's just a simple pattern on the keyboard, which means hackers' programs recognize it and can crack it in less than a minute. Scary, right? Okay, so we've seen the problem, and it's a little unsettling, but now for the solution. And here's the good news. You do not need to memorize a random string of nonsense to create a strong password. Let's look at two super simple techniques to create passwords that are both memorable for you and nearly impossible for them to crack.
All right, our first technique is what's called the first letter method. And trust me, it's incredibly powerful for creating strong, memorable passwords.
So first, you just think of a sentence that is personal and memorable to you, but that nobody else would ever guess. Something like, my first car was a 1995 Honda Civic that I love.
Now watch this. You take the first letter of each word, maybe capitalize a few for some extra strength, and that simple sentence transforms into this beautifully complex password. A brute force attack would need an estimated 93 years to crack that. Now that is the power of entropy.
Okay, so if that method isn't for you, no problem. Here's another one that's just as effective. It's called the passphrase method.
For this one, it's almost ridiculously simple. You just choose 4 completely random, unrelated words, and you string them together. Coffee, mountain, bicycle, justice.
It's so easy for you to remember, right? But the sheer length and the total randomness make it incredibly difficult for a computer to guess. You can add a number or a capital letter in there, and it becomes virtually uncrackable.
So, you've created your awesome new password. Great. What's next? Well, security isn't a one-time fix. It's really about building good habits. So, let's quickly go over a final security checklist to keep all of your accounts safe and sound.
First, and this is non-negotiable, you've got to use a unique, strong password for every single important account. Second, turn on two-factor authentication, or 2FA, everywhere you possibly can. This is an absolute game changer, because even if a hacker gets your password, they still need your phone to log in. Third, to keep track of all these unique passwords, use a trusted password manager. And finally, go check if your email has ever been part of a known data breach. Just visit the site haveibeenpwned.com.
So when you think about it, your entire digital life, all your photos, your finances, your private conversations, it's all protected by a single secret. So here's the final question. Isn't it time you made sure it's a really, really good one?